gangster. A man who takes what he wants without asking permission. And you know what? They were right. But what they didn't understand is that I didn't become this way by accident. I became this way by necessity. See, the world will try to make you apologize for your ambition. They'll make you feel guilty for wanting more, for taking up space, for refusing to bow down. But I learned something in the streets of Birmingham that most men never learn. The moment you start apologizing for who you are is the moment you give them permission to destroy you. I didn't build an empire by asking nicely. I didn't survive the trenches by being polite. And I sure as hell didn't become who I am by caring what small-minded people think about my methods. That's not cruelty talking. That's reality. That's the law of nature, stripped of all the pretty lies society tells you. People see the suits, the power, the family name, but they don't see the nights when everything was falling apart. They don't see the moments when I had to choose between being liked and being respected, between being comfortable and being great. Every man reaches that crossroads. Most choose comfort. Most choose to blend in, to apologize for their dreams, to make themselves smaller so others feel bigger. But not me. I chose to be unapologetic about who I am and what I want, and that choice changed everything. You can spend your life seeking approval, or you can spend it building something that doesn't require anyone else's permission to exist. The choice is yours, but choose wisely, because the world doesn't wait for the apologetic. Chapter 1. Stop apologizing.
Working in a fucking factory gets you tired. I don't go around apologizing, do I?
Listen carefully to what I told my brother that day, because at that moment, I was teaching him the most important lesson a man can learn. The world doesn't need another apologetic soul walking around, making excuses for taking up space. You see, most people live their entire lives apologizing for their dreams being too big, apologizing for their voice being too loud, apologizing for wanting success, for demanding respect, for refusing to settle for mediocrity. But here's what I learned in the mud and blood of France, and later in the boardrooms of Birmingham. Apologies are currency you can't afford to spend. Every time you apologize for who you are, you're paying someone else to diminish you. That space isn't filled by men who ask permission. It's filled by men who see what needs doing and do it, regardless of who might be offended by their methods. When you apologize for your ambition, you're telling the world that your dreams are negotiable. When you apologize for your standards, you're telling people that your values are up for sale. When you apologize for taking what's yours, you're giving others permission to take it from you. I built my empire without apologies because I understood something fundamental. The world respects what you respect about yourself. If you treat your goals like inconveniences to others, they'll treat them the same way. If you act like your success is something to be ashamed of, they'll help you feel that shame. But if you carry yourself like a man who belongs in every room he enters, who deserves every opportunity he creates, who has earned every piece of respect he commands, then the world will see you that way too. Stop apologizing for being excellent. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop apologizing for refusing to accept less than what you're worth. The factory workers get tired, yes, but successful men don't apologize for not being tired. They don't apologize for seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. They don't apologize for having the vision and the courage to fill the empty spaces others are too afraid to even acknowledge. Be a f***ing man, fill the space, and never, ever apologize for it. Chapter 2. You owe no one.
Nevertheless, John, despite the bad blood, I'll have none of it on my carpet. Now, for grace's sake, nothing will go wrong.
Even on my wedding day, what should have been a moment of personal joy, I was managing other people's expectations, setting boundaries, making it clear that despite what they thought they were owed, I owed them nothing but what I chose to give. That's the trap most men fall into. They think they owe the world an explanation for their choices. They think they owe their family a version of themselves that makes everyone comfortable. They think they owe society permission to be great. But here's the truth that will set you free. You owe no one anything except what you've explicitly agreed to give. No fighting. No fighting. No fighting. No fighting. Even with my own family, my own blood, I had to set firm boundaries. Because the moment you let people think they can dictate your choices, they will. The moment you let them believe their comfort is more important than your vision, they'll kill that vision to preserve their peace. You don't owe anyone a smaller version of yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you want more than they're willing to settle for. You don't owe anyone permission to pursue excellence. These people. Sometimes that's exactly the attitude you need, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough to refuse their limitations. I've watched good men destroy themselves trying to live up to other people's expectations. They sacrifice their dreams on the altar of other people's comfort. They dim their light so others won't feel overshadowed. They apologize for their success because others haven't found theirs. But successful men understand something different. Your only obligation is to the vision you have for your life and the people you've chosen to build that life with. Even family, the people closest to you, don't get to dictate your path. They can walk with you or watch from a distance, but they don't get to slow you down. You owe your best effort to your goals. You owe your loyalty to those who've earned it. You owe your respect to those who've shown they deserve it. But you don't owe anyone a life lived on their terms instead of yours. Stop trying to manage everyone else's emotions about your success. Stop feeling guilty for outgrowing people who are comfortable with staying small. Stop believing that your greatness is somehow an insult to their mediocrity. You owe no one an apology for becoming everything you were meant to be. Chapter 3. Misunderstood. Today, remembered tomorrow. Even in my most vulnerable moments, when everything was falling apart, I understood something. The people who matter will see you clearly, and those who don't never mattered anyway. History is written by those who dared to be misunderstood in their time. Every great man, every revolutionary, every builder of empires was called crazy, dangerous, or worse while he was building something the world wasn't ready to understand. But that's the price of vision. You see what others can't, and they hate you for it until they realize you were right all along. The world is full of people who will misunderstand your methods because they can't see your destination. They'll judge your journey because they lack the courage to take it on their own. They'll call you obsessed because they've never experienced the clarity of true purpose. What do I have to do to make people listen to me? Sometimes the world needs to be forced to pay attention. Sometimes being misunderstood is the price of being ahead of your time. I built businesses when others saw only crime. I saw opportunity when others saw only chaos. I understood that sometimes you have to break the rules that were written to keep you small in order to build something that will make you great. The same people who whisper about your methods today will tell stories about your success tomorrow. The same voices that question your vision will claim they always believed in you once that vision becomes reality. Don't waste energy trying to make everyone understand your vision while you're building it. History will vindicate you. Results will speak louder than critics. Success will silence the voices that said you couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't. The men who change the world are always misunderstood by the world they're changing, but they're remembered long after their critics are forgotten. Be willing to be misunderstood today if it means being remembered tomorrow. Chapter 4. You're delusional until you succeed. They called my loyalty delusional. They called my ambitions impossible. They called my methods extreme, right up until those methods delivered results they couldn't ignore. That's the thing about being truly ambitious. Everyone thinks you're crazy until you prove you're right. Then suddenly, they all claim they saw it coming. When I started building what would become our empire, everyone had opinions about why it wouldn't work. Too risky, too ambitious, too different from how things had always been done. But what they called delusion, I called vision.
Big small. So I had to find someone bigger than you.
They called this philosophy brutal. I called it honest. While others were playing by rules designed to keep them small, I was studying the real rules of power. The difference between delusion and vision is simple. Results. Until you succeed, your dreams look insane to everyone else. After you succeed, those same dreams look inevitable. I've been called delusional for believing I could take our family from the streets to boardrooms. Delusional for thinking I could build something that would last generations. Delusional for believing that a man from Birmingham could play on the same level as established powers. But here's what I learned. The only opinion that matters is the one backed by action and results. While others were debating whether my vision was possible, I was building it. While they were explaining why it couldn't be done, I was figuring out how to do it. While they called me delusional, I was turning delusion into reality. The world needs delusional men. It needs people crazy enough to believe they can change things, build things, achieve things that have never been done before, because those are the only people who actually do change things. Your biggest dreams will always sound impossible to people living smaller lives. Your boldest moves will always seem reckless to people who've never taken a real risk. Your highest standards will always seem unrealistic to people who've accepted mediocrity. But that's not your problem. Your problem is turning those impossible dreams into undeniable reality. Every successful man was delusional before he was successful. Every empire was impossible before it was built. Every revolution was crazy until it changed everything. So stay delusional. Keep believing in things others can't see. Keep building toward goals others think are impossible, because the distance between delusion and genius is often just time and persistence. They'll call you crazy right up until you prove them wrong. Then they'll call you lucky, or they'll claim they always believed in you, or they'll ask you to teach them your secrets. But you'll know the truth. You weren't delusional. You just had the vision to see what was possible and the courage to make it real. You've heard my truth. Not the version they tell in newspapers or whisper in pubs, but the real truth about what it takes to build something from nothing. The world will try to make you apologize for your ambition. It will try to convince you that you owe everyone else a comfortable version of yourself. It will call you crazy for seeing opportunities where others see only obstacles. But greatness has never been built by men who asked permission or sought approval. So stop apologizing, stop explaining, stop waiting for the world to understand your vision before you start building it. Be unapologetic about who you are and what you want. Fill the empty spaces others are too afraid to claim. Build something so undeniable that your critics become your historians. The choice is yours. Blend in with the crowd or stand apart from it. Seek comfort or seek greatness. Be understood by everyone or be remembered by history. Choose wisely, because in the end, the world doesn't remember the men who played it safe. It remembers the ones who dared to be unapologetic, like Muhammad Ali. If you dare to be remembered, watch this.